Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the weekly pop culture wrap-up. It's the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Gonna have to kind of get through this. Not gonna be putting up the images. It's a super busy weekend. Saturday, Memphis Comic Expo. Sunday, meeting and greeting Bianca Del Rio at her show in Nashville. I'm so excited for this weekend, but there's a lot of exciting news. I definitely wanted to do a quick video to give you a heads up on some things, including some DC solicitations for January 2020, including Wonder Woman number 750. That's right. Wonder Woman's about to hit her legacy number of 750. Okay, we've seen a lot of books get that far, right? But DC's going to treat this kind of like Action Comics 1000 and Detective Comics 1000. Now, it wouldn't be too long in the future when they can do this again for Wonder Woman at issue 1000. But I do understand the desire to give kind of like a nice celebratory history issue, big celebration type thing, right? For Wonder Woman. So that's coming. Expect decades variants. Expect a giant issue for $9.99. Expect a whole lot of past creators and different creators coming in. I briefly looked at the list. I saw Vita Ayala's name on there. Very excited for their work on the character Wonder Woman. So be on the lookout for that. Also from DC, Doom Patrol, Weight of the Worlds, canceled at issue number 7. Oh, so issue number 7 is going to be the last issue of the current iteration of Doom Patrol. I really hope it comes back. I love Doom Patrol under Gerard Way's direction. Seriously, can we get another series? Can we get going? However, what's really cool is that the final issue, issue number 7, is going to have artwork by Nick Darrington. So it's going to have a nice little bookend to the entire Way Young Animal Doom Patrol series. This doesn't mean it's the end of the series at all. So let's pray and hope that it comes back. Brian Azzarello's Birds of Prey. So it was going to be an ongoing DC Universe series. Then it was going to be an ongoing DC Black Label series. But now the official solicitations have come out. It's going to be a DC Black Label one-shot. That's right, 96 pages for $9.99. Basically what would comprise the first 4 issues, probably the first story arc of Birds of Prey by Brian Azzarello. I would definitely think that maybe some changes or something, some editorial changes, or just maybe above and beyond that. Who knows? Seems like Azzarello's off Birds of Prey. They're no longer leaning into the idea of doing an ongoing Birds of Prey, and they're just going to deliver a one-shot. So the one-shot, but basically like his first 4 issues. So be on the lookout for that. That's pretty much all we're going to get from that, and we'll see what happens, right? Maybe the Burly Quinn? The Birds of Prey Harley Quinn movie will be a super success, and they'll be forced to do another Birds of Prey. I don't know, whatever. Scott Snyder's Justice League, it ends in January. Well, we all knew this was coming. When the Doom Justice War came out, I was like, man, we're already at the end. And originally he said 2 years, maybe up to 50 issues. The issue that it's going to end is going to be issue 39. I would like to see it go a little bit longer, but honestly, when you look at the story, where can we go except for like the bigger, better, giant big thing that's coming, right? Snyder Company, they are continuing to tease something big spinning out of this. Justice League number 39 is not the end. Trust me. I would dare to say that Snyder's writing the Crisis in 2020. I would even further dare to say Snyder and Tynion are writing the Crisis of 2020. But maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe Snyder will just kind of wrap up here and like set it off, and maybe he'll just go back and do his own thing. But I don't know. I'm meeting him this weekend, and I'm too afraid to ask him because I know he won't tell me. Anyway, Snyder's run on Justice League ending in January. It also feels like J-Lo and Justice League Dark are ending in January too, according to the solicitations. But be expecting them all to lead into something huge coming from DC in 2020, probably a Crisis event. Superman's going to reveal his identity. Maybe. Brian Michael Bendis and company are going to launch a one-shot called Superman Heroes in January, and they're teasing that this is going to be Superman revealing his identity to the public at large. Well, do we know that this just happened, Bendis? It just happened in the Truth story that I didn't really think was that good, right? So I don't know. If Bendis wants to do it, we'll see what happens. I don't know. They've already done it. It didn't work then. okay. To be honest, Bendis' Superman is running really, really thin on me. I liked it at first, and it's waned on me, my interest. But, you know, whatever. That's something's going to happen. Do you think that's a good idea? Let me know in the comments down below. From Marvel, Carmen Carnero, who is the artist over at Captain Marvel, a fantastic artist she is, has revealed that she is involved in an X-corp book. That's one of the Wave 2 Dawn of X titles coming up. Maybe not quite the Twilight, but the Noon of X or something. I don't know. But X-Corp is coming out. X-Corp kind of references some of the old stuff from back in the Grant Morrison days. Really feels like Hickman and company are pulling a lot from Morrison's ideas. But if you can think that X-Force is like the intelligence division of Krakoa, you could definitely feel that the X-Corp is kind of like the financial division of Krakoa. So it seems cool for their new writer attached to it, though a lot of strong leanings toward Leah Williams. I know Vita Ayala is attached to something coming up in Wave 2. We'll see what they're going to be doing. I'm sure we'll get that announcement soon. As far as Dawn of X Wave 2 goes, we got Wolverine, we got X-Corp, and seriously, Jonathan Hickman just confirmed we're getting a Moira-specific book. So a Moira-specific X book for Wave 2 of Dawn of X, which I'm calling Midday of X. Why not? But they're definitely doing that, and the writer that Hickman wanted apparently took the gig. So I'm very excited for this. I would like to see a series that explores not just Moira's role right now, but Moira's past role, like some of her previous lives. I would love to see that. And I am not completely sold on the idea that my theory that Moira's sixth life is the X-Men comic books that we've read pretty much our entire lives, because even though they revealed the sixth life, they didn't reveal the past of the sixth life. So be on the lookout for that. Hickman also confirmed that his X-Men run is 12 issues, but there's more coming from that. Whatever that means, we shall see. But we know we're getting at least 12 issues out of him from X-Men. But you know they're building into something, right? Building into something, right? Atlantis Attacks returns. That's right, a 5-issue miniseries. Atlantis Attacks. It's going to be written by Greg Pak, so it spins out of Agents of Atlas. Atlantis Attacks was a cross-annual miniseries kind of thing, crossover kind of thing that happened back in the day. So that's kind of cool. I think it's really neat. Let's see what happens. You know, lots of developments with Namor right now. And Agents of Atlas, you know, getting back under solid footing from Greg Pak, so let's see what happens. Matthew Rosenberg, Otto Schmidt are doing Hawkeye, a Hawkeye series in which there's a new Ronin. That's super cool. So Matthew Rosenberg just recently wrapped up his run on Punisher. We loved that here at PCP. Thought it was a great Punisher run, especially the opening arc with him as War Machine. Excited to see him tackle the character of Hawkeye and introduce a new Ronin, but more excited for Otto Schmidt's artwork. Seriously, Otto's artwork is absolutely splendid and fantastic. Let's talk about some movie and TV news. Kevin Feige has been promoted to the CCO of Marvel, the Chief Creative Officer. What does that change? Not too much, because Joe Quesada was recently was the last Chief Creative Officer of Marvel. His responsibilities are not changing, just the name of his position. He's been changed to EVP, which I'm assuming is Executive Vice President, and Creative Director. I'm assuming this is going to involve maybe a boost in pay, but definitely a boost in status and a nice new title. So that's super cool. Kevin Feige, it seems like he's being rewarded for his vision for the Marvel Studios, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So now he's able to actually use his vision to go across television and the comics. I do not expect too much involvement from him on the comic book side. Definitely more involvement on the television side, I would say, which I think is better for Marvel. And of course, we got the Disney Plus series coming up. So of course, right? So that's what I think is going to happen there. I don't think it's going to focus or affect the comic books too much, but there may be a little bit more congruity between the two, if that makes sense to you. Shriek is the villain in Venom 2, as well as Carnage. It seems like they're wanting to get right into Maximum Carnage territory. If they're going to introduce not only Carnage, well, they've already introduced Carnage, right? It's going to be Carnage. They've already done that. If they introduce Shriek, which, by the way, they're talking to Naomi Harris right now to play the character of Shriek. I love Naomi Harris in those Bond films and 28 Days Later. I'm sold. I'm down for that. There are moments of her performance in 28 Days Later, where I see where Shriek could come from, if that makes sense. So I'm very excited for that news. I think it's fantastic. If they do Carnage and Shriek, and they're already teasing the idea that there will be a Spider-Man Venom crossover, probably that was one of the, like, we don't know this for sure, that was probably one of the biggest things about the Marvel Disney Sony dispute over Spider-Man. Probably involved Spider-Man's usage in some of their other films. They know they're not going to be able to make a Spider-Verse of live action films without Tom Holland's Spider-Man and being able to use them in both, right? So, like, I think that's what this was all getting to, personally. So if they're introducing Shriek as well as leaning into Carnage in Venom 2, and they're promising that there's going to be a crossover coming up, or they're thinking about crossover coming up, I guarantee you Venom 2 is a lead-in to Maximum Carnage. You just wait and see, right? Buy them right now. They're a little bit cheap, but however, Spider-Man Unlimited #1, first appearance of Shriek, has started to go up just a little bit, but it's a really easy to find comic book. Start looking through the dollar boxes at your comic shops. What else? There's been a TV deal between Brian Haberlin and David Hine in some undisclosed production company and channel right now, or streaming service or something, but they recently worked on Sonata, one of my favorite books of this year. I've loved it. I thought it's been so solid, a great fantasy tale. They just launched The Mark #1 this last week. Both of those, apparently, they are saying, have been sold into production deals for television shows, but no further announcements from that. The Batman, the Matt Reeves film, has cast Zoe Kravitz, the daughter of Lenny Kravitz, that's really, really cool, as Catwoman. Totally cool with that. Think that's fantastic. Paul Dano, I don't know. He was cast as the Riddler. I think that's super cool. The only movie I can remember or recall seeing this cat in is There Will Be Blood. Probably my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film. I freaking love There Will Be Blood. So I'm really kind of excited for this. I don't know much about this cat because that's the only movie I've seen him in, but that seems cool to me. I like the direction they're going at. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. I don't think that's confirmed official, but come on. Ever since that Shaft movie where he played Peoples Hernandez, I've been a fan of Jeffrey Wright. Syriana, the Bond films. People tell me he's really great in the first season of Westworld, so definitely some cool, interesting news about the Batman coming out. Also, apparently they were going after Jonah Hill for the Penguin, and he turned it down, but apparently now they're going after Seth Rogen. Catwoman, Penguin, and Riddler. You don't need to have too many villains, especially when you're trying to relaunch a franchise, a film franchise, right? So I would hope that they just lean into, like, I can deal with Catwoman and Riddler. I could deal with it all if it's handled great. Like if the Penguin's just like an auxiliary character or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Apparently they're still looking to cast the Penguin, and apparently they're going after Seth Rogen right now. I don't know. We'll see what happens, though. You know, I'll tell you what. I wasn't the biggest fan of that Gotham show, but that cat that played Penguin, that played Oswald, was pretty freaking awesome. And as other people have pointed out, Danny DeVito is probably still available. Best iteration of the Penguin ever. Matrix 4 has cast Neil Patrick Harris and Yahya, is it something Mateen? Abdul Mateen? I can't remember his name. He played Black Manta in the Aquaman movie. Did a great role, except for when the script didn't allow him to play a great role. But apparently he has been cast. Neil Patrick Harris has been cast. And Jada Pinkett Smith is now in negotiations to reprise her role in Matrix 4. And once again, I'm just going to tell y'all, I'm so excited for this. The Matrix trilogy is like some of the most important films to me personally in my life. I'm just going to say. I also want to point out that earlier when I said Shriek was going to be in Venom 2, that is all correct, right? The rumors are that. But like the way I wrote it down on my notes right here, I seriously almost said Shrek is in Venom 2. Now, how cool would that be? Shrek and Venom 2. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, Netflix has picked up Jeff Smith's property, comic book property, Bone. Bone is one of the absolute best comic books of all time. I would dare to say the best all ages comic book of all time. Bone is such an amazing work to me. I have the full hardcover collection right here. If you don't believe me, let me knock over all my Cowboys pops. It's probably a really bad sign. Seriously, Dak and Jason Witten just fell. but Troy Aikman still stands. Anyway, Bone, huge fan. If you've never read Bone, you have to. Let me throw links down below to get you book 1 of Bone. If you've never read this book, it is seriously one of the best comic books out there. It's like an all-ages Sandman, in a way, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Okay, my notes are all over the place. Do I have anything else? No. That's everything. That's what we got for you this week. Sorry about the rushed video. Not a lot of production on it or whatever, but like I said, Memphis Comic Expo, I'm meeting Scott Snyder, Leon Akangas, Vita Ayala. I'm so pumped. Chris Claremont's there. I've met him before. I've been on stage with him, and he's coming back to the expo. Let me go ahead and say, we got the time. Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo is coming up in April. Jason David Frank, Kevin Stokes, Chris Claremont, voice actors from a lot of anime. Fantastic stuff. Really looking forward to that one. So be on the lookout for that. Look it up. Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. PCP will have a booth there. Hopefully we'll have another panel. We've been there since the very first year, so really exciting stuff. Jeremy does a great job with that show. No live stream tonight. Like I said, I'm going to be out of town, but we'll be talking about this and a whole lot more next week on the live stream. Excuse me. This week, lots of exciting stuff. Weekly comic book review is coming late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. If you want early access, if you want to have access to the weekly comic book review hours before anybody else, join us over at Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/PCP. There you can unlock an exclusive patron only. That's right. Early access to the weekly comic book review is audio only. There's no video. But as I'm making the video, I go ahead and upload the audio to our patrons. That way they get a little bit of a head start on those pulls and what are the hype books for the week. So lots of exciting stuff there. Weekly pop culture wrap up. We'll be back next week. Lots of excitement. Let's go ahead and say this, though. I won't be in town, but tonight we're going to launch the video that is the 5,000 subscribers giveaway. It's all vault-oriented, but there will be some nice surprises in there as well. So definitely pay attention to the channel and all of our social media pages. That's right, because in this, our 5,000 subscribers podcast, or 5,000 subscribers contest, you can now be able to give multiple entries. That right. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that you will get an entry on Patreon as well. So if you support us on Patreon, you're automatically entered, but there are other ways to add additional entries into this massive vault-oriented 5,000 subscribers podcast. Our way of saying thank you so much for helping us hit 5,000 subscribers and beyond, because we're actually a little bit further from that, and that's all because of you. So keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep doing all that jazz. We really do appreciate it. Let me know any comments below what you think about any of this upcoming news or anything else. Let us know. Let's talk about pop culture. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on living.